Vietnam culture is dynamic and complex. This teaching and learning journey has exposed just how much culture impacts a person's perspectives, behaviours, worldly interactions, beliefs and learning. You only need to listen to the many and varied narratives surrounding the Vietnam War, including the Viet Cong, Ho Chi Minh or Uncle Ho, to recognise and acknowledge the depth of difference that occurs in each experience and perspective. These experiences and beliefs shape our very identity, and we learn to adapt through our unique, dynamic and personal cultures. These complexities are why it is so important to acknowledge the human experience, especially within the context of a school and classroom environment. As teachers, we must recognise that no two students will be the same. We need to differentiate, get to know our students, their peers, also our cohort of peers and the communities in which we stand. Actually, teaching in a classroom is not unlike the city chaos in Hanoi, Vietnam. The city is busy, multifaceted. Parts of it are in plain sight, while others require some patience and time before they can be revealed. Then there are other, darker facets that may never be uncovered. When we interact with the city, we need to ask questions. We need to be patient, resilient, adaptable. We need to exercise emotional management, trust, empathy and understanding. As teachers, we need to be motivated enough to use these skills in the classroom, to understand that we will need to collect data through these experiences, then use this data to reflect and modify our interactions and pedagogical practice. This approach is equally important for each and every individual in the class. Moreover, when thinking about our students whose second language is English, we need to further scaffold the learning experience. We need to simplify and paraphrase, link learning to culture and context, and also to new topics and experiences. We need to encourage and empower our students so that they can have a voice, so that they feel confident and can ask for help when they need it. Teachers need to employ the use of additional visual aids. They need to ensure students have the opportunity to listen, read, write, and speak within the context of subject English. We need to be practical with the use of our resources. We need to grade our language, offer swift and appropriate feedback, and ensure students are collaborating to practice and perform language in real-world contexts. Most importantly, we need to achieve all of this within a safe, inclusive environment so that all students feel valued and so positive relationships can be formed and intercultural experience and understandings can be taken out and applied in our globalised world. Actually, in order to build successful relationships, we've seen that gratitude can play a positive role. Specifically, this can be achieved through the sharing of stories and ideas that make us human. As was demonstrated in our yarning circles, when people are given the chance to share and they feel supported and safe enough to do so, the results can be transformative. Groups of people who were otherwise mostly strangers can begin to see and respect each individual for who they are. People learn to exercise patience, tolerance and understanding while simultaneously becoming resilient and brave in the sharing of their own stories. I suppose that is why these intercultural and group learning experiences are so memorable. We are connecting our experience to emotions and therefore locking them into our long-term memory. This experience has taught me a lot about who I am and what my beliefs are within the context of teaching and learning. When we were listening to the pedagogical approaches used by Juan in his School for Teaching English, there were facets that I questioned or did not fundamentally agree with. Approaches focused on textbook outcomes and exam-driven learning are questionable for me. Although I acknowledge why these experiences are included in pedagogy, alongside how difficult it is to implement learning that is outside of the systems but still achieves high quality engagement and learning. Actually, in Australia, there are similar systems. We have standardised testing, a heavy focus on outcomes, and I know from personal experience that many teachers do in fact teach as per the textbook. This only reiterates how important it is to me to provide learning that is diverse and interactive in nature, to allow students to share their own interests that can be interwoven into pedagogy, to think beyond the exams and systems in place and acknowledge that not every student in the class is going to benefit from receiving a high ATAR or UAI. I do not know how this will look in practice yet, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I look forward to ongoing reflection that will guide me towards finding a balance between outcomes, systemic approaches, and the integration of the human experience.